Americans love a winner and will not tolerate a loser.
Coffee's for closers only.
When you get the money, you get the power. Then when you get the power, then you get the woman.
I get older, they stay the same age.
You can act like a man.
Who's the real tough guy, the working man.
Don't ever underestimate the heart of a champion.
You either die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Now see, this is what the holidays are all about. Three buddies sitting around chewing gum, huh? Yeah.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to another one of these. Much Ado About Everything coming to you post-Thanksgiving. Everyone here is full. And the most important thing, everyone here is in Dallas. We're recording the show together after a while. This is Sean Singh. And joining me today, as always, the authority on the show, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Coach Neely. Justin, Cowboys lose, man. Cowboys down to 3-8. Romo's out. What's going on with this team?
I don't know what's going on with this team. I think Jerry made a deal with the devil last year, and now he's having to pay up, and I don't think he can afford it.
Isn't Jerry the devil himself? Is that not true anymore?
They haven't won enough for him to be the devil.
For him to be the devil. All right, well, Justin, glad you're here. Thankful that you're here. Hope you had a lot of turkey. And now we move on to the wild card himself, Mr. coming out of nowhere from time to time, the myth, Chica Ameche. Is that what you're going with these days?
That is the current status of my name, sir. How's it going?
It could change post-Christmas, it looks
Never
like.
know, bro. Never know.
But Chica, how was your Thanksgiving? By the way, you know your remote wingman theory you came up with a couple weeks ago on one of our shows? It's actually in play right now, somewhere in the country. I can't say where because it might give away a lot of people, but it's going.
Bro, if you're running one of my game plans, it's guaranteed to succeed. So we're going to see the success of it, and we're going to be able to go back and just take a look at it and see where I was right, where Chica was right. I think that's going to be the name of the next segment.
Some people might vehemently disagree with you, but
I don't see anything.
If that makes you happy, Chica is right.
Oh, sounds good.
And lastly, of the part of the usual suspects, the PC himself, politically correct Shaharsh. You look a little dazed and confused after all that Thanksgiving eating. Are you all in with us today?
Yeah, the Thanksgiving exhausted me from just eating, for sure, and drinking. But right now I'm kind of excited. I'm looking forward to this Sweat Game book that's coming out, and it's going to just blow all our minds. Nobody will be lonely ever again.
If you guys didn't get the reference, Shaharsh and Chica sweat a lot. They're called the Sweat Brothers. Lovely on the show.
Because we all need it after this Thanksgiving. I mean, all
do.
I've been doing is eating and just slothing away.
So it feels good, though, man.
It does. And lastly, we have Dana, who's joined us many times on the show. She's back. It's a family affair today, so she's joining us. Dana, welcome back to Much Ado About Everything.
Thank you. I look forward to discussing our topics.
Absolutely. Good to have you here. And speaking of family, Chica apparently has brought two younger sisters of his onto the show. At least that's what he claims. We'll see if that's actually true or not. But Chica, why don't you introduce us to the rest of the family?
Yeah, I co-opted my two little sisters here that are not related to me in any way. To come on the show and help us out. We have Brianna over here, and we have Nicole. And they both decided to come out and help out on this topic and bring their unique perspective to it. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves. First, Brianna.
Hi, I'm Bree. I'm a model and I'm an entrepreneur. Me and my sister have our own business, Love Charlie J, and that's what we do.
And I'm Nicole. Like she said, I'm an entrepreneur with my sister. We resell vintage clothing, and then I also do styling on the side. I'm signed with independent artists, so yeah.
Nice.
I taught these girls everything they know. We grew up together, and I believe that their success has been very, very, very much tied directly to knowing me.
Wow. How did they make it, though? How did they survive?
How did they survive? Bro, are you serious, man? It wasn't easy. I did the best I could. Okay, I did the best I could.
I'm sure you did. Well, Bree and Nicole, welcome to Much Ado About Everything. Great to have you guys here. Go check out their website, and maybe you can help Chica out, figure out some reality of his own life. But with that, we've got a good mix of guys and girls here today, so we felt it was appropriate to talk about the topic of slut shaming. And the way I have looked at it, and the way Shaharsh and Chica and Justin have helped me to understand this topic is pretty much guys and girls both in a sense, putting down specifically other girls who are kind of free with their sexuality. They're not, binded by the old days and the old traditions where, girls have to live a certain way, but they're maybe you can talk about their sex life or their dating life is much more out in the open, and they have multiple partners, and why both men and women put them down. So that's essentially what slut shaming is, in a very, very short nutshell. But if you guys have a different version or a different definition of it, say now or forever hold your peace.
I think we're on a general consensus about, kind of general agreement about what it is.
Yeah. So since, Chica, this is inspired by your suggestion, why does this exist? Why do we slut shame so much women?
I think guys can't really handle the idea. All right, I'm gonna tackle it from a different angle a little bit. I wouldn't
expect anything else from you.
I think that guys kind of, when they get in a relationship with a girl, they kind of they can't handle it if their girlfriend has had more sex than them.
Okay.
And I think society in general can't handle the fact that girls sex is not that difficult for them to acquire. It's kind of like really easy for them to get. And so it's kind of looked down upon whenever they do have sex a lot, because it's kind of like not a challenge for them.
Is it just sex, and this is open for everyone, is it just sex, or is it dating and just having multiple boyfriends, partners, whatever it is?
I think it's kind of, in my opinion, it's kind of understood that people date around now. I don't think that that's an issue. I think it really does come down to, is a girl quote unquote easy, and does she have, and by easy I mean, is she having sex with like a bunch of different people? That would be my assertion.
And, well, Justin, Charles, do you guys agree with that, or do you guys disagree with that?
I agree to that to some extent, yeah, for sure. I think at some level for guys, the whole conquest part might also be at play. Because a lot of guys, from just growing up, ever since we started noticing girls and stuff, it's like becomes like, oh, how do we get further and further with women, further and further with women? And I feel like guys might develop this thing where they feel like it's a power women have of granting sex or not. And I think if they see a girl granting it to other guys but not them or something, they might be like, oh, that bitch, And it might be, I think there might be some of that in there as well. I also feel like historically, just looking at so many societies, even today, if you go to a lot of these Muslim countries, or not just even Muslim countries, even like very conservative religious parts of the world and stuff,
yeah.
You look at it, there's a huge movement to kind of control women and their sexuality and make it look like it's not something they enjoy, it's not something they should own up to, it's something that's kind of thrust upon them when the man needs it, so, whatever reasons. So I feel like it's just a whole mix of that. We just get uncomfortable for some reason when we see a woman just kind of owning up to her sexuality and, being independent about it and making decisions like because she wants to do it with somebody or something like that.
Justin, what were your thoughts on that?
I think it's interesting. I suspect men that are getting what they want, so to speak, from various women probably don't care that much about whether or not a woman is promiscuous or sexually independent, whereas guys that maybe are having a harder time getting what they want in the marketplace probably are more prone to being jealous, perhaps, looking at the woman and saying, this isn't fair, she's a slut, yada, yada, yada. I kind of think, though, that women police each other more than men do. I think men, they may think that a girl is a slut, but if she's putting out for him, he really doesn't care. Whereas I feel like women maybe are tougher on each other when it comes to that sort of thing. We can discuss why and get into all that later, but I think that's where the pressure comes from, at least in the West. I can't speak for other countries, but in this part of the world, definitely.
Yeah, so we've got 3 women here. Is that true? Do women police other women more than guys?
I would say, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have the idea that she's giving it up for free, and you'll kind of you may not say anything, but you'll give the side eye. I also think Justin, when he was speaking, gave me, brought up the idea of even in our society is the idea of like rape culture. And a lot of times you'll have things that come up where it's like the woman, she shouldn't have dressed so scantily, or, her skirt was so short she was asking for it. And that's like actually a legitimate concern that it's perpetuated in society, is that if you're not even just sex, but even how you're dressed, if you're dressed a certain way, you should be allowed to dress that way, but that means you're asking for it. And that's not fair and that's wrong.
Bree and Nicole, what do you guys think about this whole topic?
Women do police other women more than guys. I think it goes more than just sex. I think, like, you know, you see another girl and she's like all over a guy and they're just making out, but you automatically assume, yeah, they're probably gonna hook up later that night, and then you're right, we give them the side eye, or we're just like, that hoe over there, that thought, and she's totally right about the rape culture thing, because like, it's just, sometimes it can be anything you wear. Oh, she's asking for it, and you're just like, no, it's just a t-shirt and a skirt. Chill.
Yeah.
Can I please just like inject for dudes to quit doing that? You're making them wear more clothing. Stop. Sorry, go ahead, Bree.
Well, I think like rape culture is more of like a male thing than it's a female thing. But a lot of women, slut shaming is more of like a jealousy thing for them. Like, oh, why can't I get with that dude? She's just giving the pussy all away. Like, why can't I get with this dude over here? So I think that's more of what it is with women. They're just like, man, I want to get with him. I want to get with all these dudes. And because they want to upkeep their image, they're like, well, I can't do that. These other women are going to call me a slut. So...
Do you think it's also, I kind of like what you were saying over there, because I think it is true. Do you think it's like a sense of sort of like, a lot of women will go through life just being prim and proper, not doing some of the things they say is reckless or behavior that's frowned upon, and they want to be sort of like applauded for it, right? And they probably are and everything. And then when they see another girl just not following any of that, just being completely reckless, and then nobody's out there and be like, hey, this girl did it so better, and she was so prim and proper, you're just hoeing it all up. And, you know, the people are not frowning upon that. Does that piss women off, too, a little bit? That like, there's some women out there being very prim and proper and not really being rewarded in the same relative terms that some of the other women.
I think the jealousy part might be more about them not being able to do that reckless behavior as opposed to hooking up with that particular guy.
So it's like a resentment sort of a thing, right?
Well, women usually, they're raised to be like non-sexual people. So like when they come out and see all these other girls who are actually like open with their sexuality, they're probably like, you know, like, I was raised not to do that. That's frowned upon. My mom doesn't want me to do that. My dad doesn't want me to do that. So they probably are just like, man, like, why can't I live like that? I think is a lot of it is societal standards. Like, you know, when I was a little girl and I didn't cross my legs at the table, they're like, you can see your crotch. I'm like, but I don't want to cross my legs.
Well, Chica
like,
has everything flying out here and about.
Yeah, like...
Gotta do what I do, baby.
I'm like, I want to be comfortable too.
Yeah, right.
I think it's pretty much like being ladylike. That's the whole thing that a lot of us girls are raised up on. It's either you are ladylike or you're not, and eventually you grow out of it or you keep those ways.
This goes back to that topic we had a couple of weeks ago, meaningless relationships, and I made the argument that I think women get into meaningless relationships more than guys because of societal issues. Because if a girl is going out and just hooking up with a lot of guys, society says, "Oh, look, there's a slut right there." Whereas if they're in relationships, it kind of like eases the criticism, I think, a little bit. But
so the relationship in that instance, essentially, the insurance policy she buys to have the reckless,
in a sense, yeah. I mean,
How
I
many
think
like bad relationships are you getting then?
Yeah, no, that's
just
no,
leading to
that's
so
a good
many
point.
Bad
Yeah.
relationships.
I agree. So in terms of slut shaming itself, do you guys think, do guys do it more than girls, or girls are more of a slut shaming officers here than guys?
I think girls probably are more, they police it more. Now, my premise is more, because it's kind of stereotype, but men are generally encouraged to be promiscuous and get as many women as possible. Women are sort of encouraged to date a little bit, be independent, but settle down and find the right guy. And so my theory is that sometimes women that are jealous or prone to being jealous, they look at it and say, hey, if you're giving up really easily, it makes it harder for the rest of us because we're trying to find a good man to settle down with, and you're just giving it away for free. That's kind of, and so I think...
Why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free?
Basically, if like half the girls are just giving it up for free and the other half are trying to, do things quote unquote old fashioned way, it makes it harder for the girls that are actually trying to settle down. Conversely, guys, the theory is that they just want to go out and have fun, and if they can find half of the girls that are just giving it up for free, they'll just give it up for free and never settle down.
Yeah, so here's a question while you were talking about the whole settling down thing. Something that kind of hit me was like specifically for the guys, because I agree with Justin. I think the women actually slut shame more than guys do, but specifically towards the guys, at what point do you consider a girl a slut? Is it if you have sex with her on the first night? Is that what you guys all consider? Like, is a one-night stand make a girl a slut? Does just because she's not wearing much make her a slut? Like, at what point does your slut switch flip, and you're like, I'm not dealing with this girl because she is a slut?
Well, I think the slut thing really comes out in if you do the same act multiple times. I think that's where society has labeled a woman a slut. I think dressing is more of a, what you like and what you don't like type of thing. It's not really if a girl dresses a more promiscuous than another girl that she's necessarily a slut. That's the way she dresses. I think the slut thing really comes into play is if you hook up with multiple guys over and over again. So I don't think it's a one-time thing, then you get labeled as a slut. Some people might, the ultra-conservative groups might say that. If you do it once with just a random guy, you're a slut. But I think the normal definition is if you do it over and over again. Or if you're labeled easy. I think that's where it comes into. Like, you're an easy girl.
Do girls, let me follow that up real quick. Do girls have the same criteria, though? Or do girls kind of, in a sense, call each other sluts based on, like she was saying, making out in the club? Like, is there less of a barrier to a woman calling another woman a slut than it is for a guy to call a woman a slut?
I think for me, the barrier's more. Like, I don't consider hooking up with, like, several times one night stands a slut. I would consider it her using that man. A slut is basically, to me, the same definition as a hooker. A hooker is someone that takes something or money or whatever for sex. So therefore, if she just wants to go and have sex with a guy because that's what she wants to do and she's not expecting anything in return, that's not a slut. A slut is someone that's taking things from the man, so money, whether it's wanting jewelry or whether it's, but not really like a car or this or that, but not really knowing that it's going to be a long-term relationship.
Is that called? I mean, is that the same thing as a gold digger? Is that what the?
Yeah, that's
a sugar baby. That's what
That's what Kanye was saying, right? In the song. That's what
I think a gold digger though is like going for the gusto. Like they don't just want a little bit; they want a lot. Whereas
they're the ones that are like freezing the condom and saving the sperm and then using like the turkey basters to get pregnant.
A slut is cheap.
How about putting it this way, where a slut is somebody who basically sees doing sexual favors as her main value, and that's what she kind of uses as a bargaining chip in all situations, or most situations, you would say, like whether it be social status, whether it be career progress, or it be
I like that definition.
No, but that makes it more strategic than anything. I thought
I think it's a strategic part to it, right? So are you saying that? So there's weak-willed people, right? They just are easily tempted or easily persuaded or easily manipulated, right? And they might end up in casual relationships a lot because guys are just able to manipulate them or persuade them a lot easier, right?
Maybe I.
And then there's girls who know that they are sexually wanted, at least, and they just use that to get other things in life. Right?
Maybe I have the slut definition different than maybe everyone in this room. It looks like now, but
I don't think we're all on the same page.
Because I thought a slut is just someone who society looks at and says this girl is easy to get, not who's using sex as a means of like gaining something else. That seems like gold. That's more strategic than what I would think a slut would do.
Easy for who? Because I mean, you have some girls where if you're
easy for the guy, right? Easy to get this girl.
But if you're a guy, if you have a group of guys that are 6'3" with 6-figure salaries and really well educated, they might be able to get women really easily. And so, a particular group of women that we classify as sluts for that particular group of guys. They are, but if you're 5'4" and you work at McDonald's, you might not be able to get that woman. So, is she really a slut just because she's easy for a certain type of guy, or are we talking about someone that will just give it up to anyone? I don't think I've ever seen a woman that will give it up to anyone.
And the flip side of that is if you just had like, and this is just an example, a girl who was very curvy but in really good shape, but just very, very desirable just physically, I think she would have an easy time just getting any guys she probably wanted, right? So
well, let's toss it up too, because Dana had her point. Like, Bree and Nicole, what do you guys think? What's a slut at the end? What do you guys think when people say that?
I don't know. I really have a problem with this term because I don't feel like really anybody should be like slut sham for getting with somebody for any reason.
Yeah.
So I don't really want to call somebody a slut because they want to get with somebody because they have money. I mean, if the person gets with them and then gives them stuff, that's their fault. That's not the girl's fault.
Yeah.
She's just taking the opportunity. She's an opportunist. That's what I think.
I agree with you there. I wouldn't call that girl a slut. I wouldn't call that girl a slut.
Yeah,
that's not what I think.
I would not
She's smart.
do that.
But see, there's too much strategy.
But based on
if life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Okay.
So what you guys are basically saying is there's slut is not somebody who's strategic or cunning, because there's a lot of cunning involved or something like that if you're doing that. Whereas slut is somebody who's just weak-willed.
A slut to me, I think, is just somebody who basically uses people. I mean, in Bree's sense, I kind of agree with her that, like, if they just give you the money, that's one thing. But I think it's another thing if you're like, give me your money or I'm not going to have sex with you. Or
Prostitution.
That's a call girl.
Prostitution.
That's what I thought.
Money at the dresser.
There are relationships that's actually based on that.
Yes.
Okay,
or like, I think girls are sluts if they are in relationships or do tell guys like, hey, you mean the world to me, blah, 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 and have all this emotion added into something that when they know damn well that they just wanted the sex for it and they're doing it to another person over and over again. I think that's a slut. I don't care if you own your sexuality and you want to have sex with 50 dudes. But don't tell them like, hey, I love you.
Right, gotcha.
Like, do it without emotions or don't do it.
What Chica, the question I posed to you now, let's flip it to the guys, right? What's a guy slut?
What's a male? There's one.
A male slut. What is that?
Before we jump on that, I got to make a slight point here about what Nicole said that I really agreed with.
Okay.
Because to me, like, my personal, because you guys know I go out a lot and stuff like that. Like, my personal definition of a true slut is a woman who is using the whole sex game, the whole, go out and find a guy thing to cope with emotional issues. So, like, she's the kind of girl who's having sex, not because she's that into the guy, but just because she needs the validation consistently. So you're in a relationship with her, you two get into a fight, she's going to go blow some dude. She's out in the club, she's having a rough day, she's going to get laid. Whether she actually likes the guy or not, she just needs the validation.
See,
that
I
validation
disagree
that
with
she's
you
getting.
at that point.
That's kind of, because everything else, it seems like, could be a gold digger, could be just someone that likes to dress a certain way, or, you don't have to be dressed in a certain way to be, you don't even have to have had sex. You have to have had sex a bunch of times to be a slut. But the reasoning behind why you've had sex is kind of more of the reason why I would classify them as a slut.
I agree with you on that point. The way I thought society looked at sluts was that it's meaningless sex at the end of the day. It's just having sex without, you're giving it a purpose, which kind of gives it this, okay, that makes sense. She's emotionally torn, so she's trying to get valid.
It could be history, like problems with the family, unstable, she just
I wouldn't
needs
call
that
that girl a
validation.
slut, though.
I would call that girl a slut in the sense that she's having sex consistently. She's quote unquote easy, whatever. But even if you get with that girl, it still doesn't fix the underlying problem. Like, even if she gets with you, she's still going to go cheat the minute that something goes wrong because she has emotional issues. You feel me? That's who I would call a true slut.
I'm curious because men and women penalize women for being sexually free, promiscuous, depending on how you want to look at it. I'm curious why we don't look at men the same way. Like, if you talk to the average woman, you have a guy that on the outside is very, attractive. He has all his stuff together, but that he sleeps around a lot. Now, he doesn't lie to women or anything like that. He just sleeps around a lot of different women. He's honest. Why don't men or women look at men that way and say, hey, that guy's a slut? How come they don't get that blowback?
I look at men like that. I'm like, you a hoe. You a man hoe. If you fucking around, you a hoe. know.
It's a different criteria. But then why are we judging men on a different criteria for women?
It's a very primitive thing, right?
Why are we starting more problems?
It's a very primitive. I can explain. Charge, I think you've made this argument before.
Well, I want to just give it. I think to me it's just the thing of honesty. Like if a person is honest to themselves and honest to others, right? So if you're just honest about what you're doing, like I'm not looking for a long-term relationship, I'm not looking for commitment. I just want to go around, play the field, whatever, go out, keep things casual, have sex, but not really have an emotional undertone to it, like a heavy one, anyways. But you're honest about it, then to me you're fine. Like you're telling people, you're laying your cards on the table correctly. You're not manipulating people. You're not leading people on for no reason. Things like
I think
that,
actually, I'm not gonna get too sciencey here, but maybe me and Justin might have an appreciation for this argument. But I think it goes back to it's a very primitive thing. Like if you look at animals in the jungle, the male animals have multiple mates, right? Mm-hmm. So it's back to that whole structure where men are supposed to in society go and spread their seed around. So when they do that, Johnny Depp is a really cool guy. Leonardo DiCaprio is a really cool guy, but Rihanna or so whoever is known as, she might be a slut. That's I think what happens at the end of the day.
Two things. Number one, we have different mating strategies between men and women, right? Because women can only have one kid like roughly a year, right? And they can only have them for so many years. Men, in order to get our seed to the next generation, we can populate for days, right?
You can impregnate a different girl every
Correct.
day of the year.
And then if you take a look at just modern society as well, like it is 10 times easier for a woman to get laid than a man. Like tenfold.
Because men are just running around.
Like just like so like for a woman to get a lot of sex, that is
a good example of that was the whole what was that adult Ashley Madison site when they busted that whole thing, and they realized that something like 80 or 90% of the members were all men. It was like a very small number that was actually women female. On that whole site.
Quick question. Thing. I want to ask the women in here, and this might get a little personal, but is it true that women want or enjoy sex as much as guys?
Yes.
Because then I think it goes back to the root of that question, because it's almost the synopsis is that men like sex, they will go out and try to get as much of it as possible, and women don't like sex that much, and that's why it's so selective. What's the truth here?
That's a myth.
Well, what's I want to discuss that. What's the truth here?
I think it is equal, but I think since we're born to be brought up not to, basically to be modest, not to own your sexuality, we don't admit to it.
Yeah.
But we are out there, enjoying it just as much.
Yeah.
Probably even more.
I took a human sexuality class in college, and it was science based, and they said that I want to say it was like 40 to 60% of women don't have a good sex life. So I don't think it is that. I think men I think it is equal that they do enjoy sex on the same basis, but I think women aren't really getting what they need out of it.
I think women tend to put themselves aside. I mean, I also took a human sexuality class, and I don't remember, but I know they talked about the percentage of women that take care of themselves. Leave it at that. And that I think that has a correlation with the women that enjoy their sex life. If you know what you like, you can tell your partner, but you have to be a confident woman to be able to say, I like this, I like that, I like this, and you have to have the right man that's willing to take care of that for you. But if it's taken care of, women do like sex as much as men, and it can be even better.
So I think it's also, there's what the societal myth and expectation is, where like men love sex, women should hold it back, protect it, and kind of like be the guardian of it, like when to do it and all that.
Well,
but then also I think it's based different person by person, because not every guy enjoys sex every day of the month or something like but men have the opposite problem, where they feel like they're inadequate, or they are weird or abnormal if they don't want sex all the time, because the society is constantly bombarding. If you're a dude, you should be wanting to go in there. You should be wanting to get laid like every single day of the week. What the hell's wrong with you, right?
I'm asking the same question. Go ahead. Sorry.
So I think it comes down to person by person. For every guy, for all the guys and for all the women, you're gonna have some guys who just enjoy sex. They've had good experiences with it all their life. They know exactly what they want. They know how to get it, and they just have amazing sex lives. I think it's the same thing with women as well.
Well, you know what they say? They say that actually gay males have the most sex. And lesbians,
gay males?
Gay males have the most sex, and lesbians have the least sex because they already feel connected to their partner because they're female, so they're always on the same wavelength, while males have more testosterone, so they have sex more often. And I think like in the middle is the heterosexual sex.
Interesting. That's interesting. The quick question for Justin, Chica, Shahars, the guys in this room, and this might be a good segue to the next topic we're going to do this week, that we're going to release next week, is would you go out and potentially marry a girl who in the past has been labeled a slut? Because I've had this come up. I've spoken to some of my friends and be like, that girl is I really like that girl. But then they'll come up to me and say, like, she's kind of a slut in the past. And that's kind of always made me somewhat, I don't know why, but just because of how society is, unattracted to her at that point. But they are, at this point, when I'm looking at them, really good girls, and I would love to have some type of future with them. Would you guys ever date a girl who's in the past been labeled a slut?
Well, it depends. Okay, for one, if my friends are calling her a slut, I'd be trying to figure out why they're calling her a slut, because I'm like, have you guys been with her? It'd be kind of awkward to be with a girl that my close friends have already been with. But if it's more at a distance where people that friends of friends say that, I really don't judge a woman that way. I'd be like, okay, do I have a connection with you? Do I get along with you? I'd be curious as to why. Like, did you like sleeping around just because you enjoy different people, or was there something more at play there? If it's like an emotional thing, then that's different than someone that just likes to sleep around a lot because, if you're used to always having different ice cream every night of the week, you might be used to that. It might be hard to go to something more monogamous.
Was it a fear of that, whether male or female, that they would eventually have that urge again and kind of cheat on you and go on to another guy or girl?
Yeah, like if we weren't, like my thing is, okay, if you honestly want to have different partners and kind of have a more open sexual lifestyle, I'd want you to be honest about that, regardless of which way you want to go, as opposed to saying, well, no, I only want to be with one person, and 5 years later, you're like, okay, I need something different. I'd want to be honest. Yeah.
Chica, Shahar, same opinion, or?
So I don't know. For me, you guys know me pretty well by now.
Only in a few states we know you
only
pretty
in a few
well.
states, bro.
Still trying to figure it out.
Yes, keep the feds out of this. No, I feel like I'm a big proponent of what Justin just said, and as well as
Chica, we'll see you next week.
As
We'll talk
well,
to you then.
as well as
You just have an I'm with Justin shirt.
I'm a big fan of forgiveness, right? Like, so for me, like, and that sounds bad. It's not forgiveness. Let me put it better, because I did not come out the way I wanted
you're
to.
open. You're more open to coping with people's background and
correct.
where they come
like,
from.
Like before you got with me, like what you did in life.
Yeah.
As long as the characteristics don't carry through, I'm not gonna blame you for that. That's one. Two, I'm pretty confident that whoever's with me is getting as good as it gets. So as long as it's not an emotional issue, call me cocky. Call me cocky if you want
Only
to.
in a few states.
Call me cocky if you want to. But it's a confidence thing. Like, I feel like if she's with me now, then she's with me now. And it's like, as long as it's not an emotional thing that she's cheating over, like Justin was saying, like, or that she was slutting about for, then I'm not worried that she's going to go cheat on me in the first place. So I don't really care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I'm confident that if she does turn around and screw up, I'm going to replace her. So, like, when you put those together, it just literally doesn't matter to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to forgive her past, or I guess that's not the right way to put it, cope with the past, whatever. I don't care, because if she cheats on me, that's a big her problem. And then third, if she does, I'm going to replace her. Yeah. That's my opinion.
All right, man. Thanks. Go on, Charge. Anything else?
I think I would only add that for me the concern would be sort of a character thing, in the sense that what was the slutting about? Like, was she actually cheating on people? Was she in relationships and then sleeping behind the person she's actually with their back and stuff?
I love how you guys are gonna go like full investigative mode here and figure out.
No, because I mean, to me, there's a difference between just having a very active single life and dating life, and then actually being in committed relationships and stepping out of that. And to me, if it was the latter, I would be more concerned just about the person's character. Is this somebody I actually want to be intimate with? Somebody I actually want to be able to trust? Right? Because I think to me, the most important thing in actual monogamous or committed relationship is trust and communication. So if I can't do the two, then I probably don't want to be with you in one of those relationships.
All right, we'll give the females in the room the last word on slut shaming. What's the synopsis? How do we cure slut shaming?
Let's do it.
Chica, do you want to start? Wow. Nicole or Bree, Dana, how do we cure slut shaming?
if you're not gonna slut shame the dudes, then just don't slut shame the girls too.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to slut shame the girls, slut shame the dudes too. Like it's either all and everybody or it's nothing.
Gotcha.
So.
I agree.
Put all the sluts in an island and just let them go at it.
Yeah.
Slut Island.
That's gonna be a boring island where we're not.
Dude,
Also called paradise.
Dude, it would still have the same problem. It'd be nothing but dudes there because we'd all be trying to book flights.
So where you going for a week, bro? I'm going to Slut Island, bro.
Slut cruises.
Right.
All right. Anyone else has got a last word on slut shaming or put a wrap to this?
I think our society just needs to be more honest. We need to be. I think we need to stop playing games and stop messing with people's feelings and lying to people when you know how you truly feel. I think it's just a matter of communication. I think that's kind of the overall thing is communication.
No, communicate, guys. Communicate and go to Slut Island. Those are the two messages of the show. Let's create that. Chica, why don't you get on that on that thing, man?
Bro, let's do it, man. Let's
do it.
We
I
can
thought
make
it was
some
all
money
the
off of that,
call.
bro.
Aren't some of those European countries almost like mini miniature versions of Slut Island?
Yeah.
Oh, which
Amsterdam?
ones?
Is it Amsterdam?
No, I know.
Is it Amsterdam?
Yeah.
France has a bunch of nude beaches
Las
all
Vegas?
over the place. Yeah, I think
That's
so.
the thing. Europe in general.
The good, the Spanish.
Europe.
I think those Spanish people are pretty religious. I don't think they do so much.
No, Spain is pretty
Oh, wow.
liberated.
All right.
I just
All right.
was in Spain and I saw the liberation there.
All right, guys.
They have
Stop.
nude beaches there.
All right, that's the end of this show. Stop slut shaming, and let's start putting together a Slut Island where we can all be sluts. With that, we'll see you guys next week on Much Too Bad.